Do I believe in evolution? Well, absolutely yes is the answer to that question. As an agnostic, personally, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in a man with a white robe sitting in the sky among clouds looking down on us. And as far as I'm concerned, an afterlife doesn't exist. I believe it was created as a notion to help us combat the fear of death. I do, however, believe in a higher power, whether it be a building, a book, a person. There is an omniscient force that controls and overlooks us. How else would such a remarkable and incredible world exist? I don't believe that a collision of two planets, as many people believe the Big Bang Theory, created the world. Think about the intricacy and how remarkable the human body is. You know, something must have created that. It's extraordinary. I often find how the conflicting opinions that people can have as far as religion is concerned. You know, we must remember that the Romans wrote the Bible. You know, a lot of these biblical texts could be a work of fiction. The devil tempting Jesus in the desert. You know, the dysfunctional brotherlyhood of Cain and Abel, the serpent tempting, Eve in the Garden of Eden. What does suggest that all of those stories are not just sort of, conjured up fables to have an underlying hidden meaning. You know, and another thing is, the story about Pandora opening the box. Again, unleashing diseases and illness and cruelty and badness into the world. Well, I believe a lot of these fables, were originally written. I don't believe they're true. They're just there to sort of make us stop and think about, moral judgments and dilemmas and choices that we make in our life. And it's a shame in many respects that many religious groups can conflict when it comes to ideologies and opinions with others. What is to say that one religion is superior to another? There's no concrete evidence to suggest such a thing. Whether it be Islam analysing the Quran, whether it be the Jews analysing the Torah, or the Christians, with religious scriptures. The fact of the matter is all these religions have a definitive similarity. They worship a higher power, but it doesn't mean that one religion is better than another. And another thing is a lot of historical events. We have to rely on secondary and tertiary evidence to believe they're true. And this is what I find extraordinary is, what is to say that Jesus was crucified on the cross to save us and then was resurrected, back to life 3 days later and is the Son of God? We can only rely on texts, on biblical texts, and I find it extraordinary how many people can conflict in opinions because they're so convinced and brainwashed into believing that a religion is better than another, and this leads to terrorism and war. And it's a shame because, as I say, there is no concrete evidence to suggest that their religion is more superior to another. And many people can be indoctrinated by a community. I was listening to a documentary by Louis Theroux about this community who hate gay people. They hate gay people or anybody who's committed in their eyes an unethical and immoral sin. And it's absolutely bigoted and absurd, as far as I'm concerned, that somebody can have an intolerance towards another person just because they're of a different ethnicity, different race, different colour, different creed, or even different personality. And I think if this country was a lot more tolerant and accepting, of the diversity that we live in, then we'd live in a much more peaceful and unified world. Of course, that's never going to be the case. There's always going to be conflicts. But what I find so interesting is so many of these conflicts are religiously orientated, because somebody is so engrossed into their religious ideologies that they think Allah is more important than the Jews' God or the Star of David or something like that. And it's totally absurd. There's no concrete evidence to suggest one is more superior than another. It's a matter of opinion, of following a certain procedure and set of texts. And perhaps we could assuage this terrible, criminal, occurrences in this country and terrorism if people were more educated, on the reality of religion.